Hey guys, what's up? And welcome to the first video of this year's Halloweek. Yes, that's the most original name I could come up with. To kick off this week, I will share with you my top 10 favorite creepypastas. For those of you who don't know what creepypastas are, I'm just gonna tell you a few short stories. And I'm gonna recommend you leave the lights on when you go to bed tonight. So let's get creepy. The Soul Game. First, I need to apologize. I am really sorry, but please stay with me to the end of this story. That's all I ask. I'm a single parent and my son's name is Jesse. He's 11. When school started this year, he was very excited, but that excitement seemed to be gone when I picked him up after his first day. He told me that he met this boy named Stan and that he was his new best friend. But as he said it, he was pale and sweaty. When I asked him about his day, all he could talk about was Stan. He kept repeating, "Stan is my new best friend, Stan is my new best friend." But when I tucked him into bed that night, he looked at me and said, "You believe me, right?" Which seemed very odd to me. When I dropped him off a couple of days later, he told me that he really didn't want to go, but that he had to. So he walked into school, which was also very strange to me. As I tried to drive off, I noticed this little boy standing in front of my car. He just stood there staring at me. Then he knocked on the hood twice, he waved once and stepped into school right after Jesse. Again, very odd. When I picked Jesse up that afternoon, he seems to be a lot happier while he's talking about his day. When he told me about recess, he said that he joined the Church of Stan. At first I thought it was weird, but just a game. But when I picked Jesse up the next day, I could clearly see that there was something totally wrong with my boy. He looked so panicked and scared. He told me that he had played the Soul Game at the Church of Stan that day during recess. When I asked him what it was all about, he told me that he couldn't tell me anything, only that Stan made him do it, otherwise he wouldn't be his best friend anymore. That night I took Jesse into my bed after he woke up screaming in the middle of the night. I looked at him when he was drifting off to sleep, when he suddenly opened his eyes wide, told me that he would tell me the rules of the Soul Game the next day after school. Then he fell back asleep right away. The next day I picked Jesse up from school right after I dropped him off because he vomited in class. Something was clearly wrong with my boy, so I decided to take him to the doctor. But before we could leave, he asked if Stan could come over. At that moment, someone knocked on the front door. When I answered it, I saw the little boy who was standing in front of my car a couple of days before and a little girl. When he asked if Jessie was home, I said no. The girl said he was fine and introduced herself as Devon and her brother Stan. Then, out of the blue, she said, "Rule number 1, don't walk past mirrors in the dark. Rule number 2, don't leave any doors open when you go to bed tonight. Ask your son about the third rule. And remember, a creak means you're falling behind, a rustle means you're almost lost, and when the lights go out tonight, hopefully you don't see the dark shadows in the corner of the room. And hopefully you'll never hear a bang." Then the kids just walked off. I found Jesse crying at the kitchen table, whispering that he heard a bang. When I asked him when the game ended, he said, "It doesn't." When I asked him about the third rule, he said, "Rule 3? Knowing all 3 rules makes you a player." When I asked him what happens if you lose, he said, "When it's dark, you'll hear them coming. They like to let you know when they're getting close. Stan and Devon. They'll drag you through the mirror." "And how do you win?" I asked. "You win if you tell more people the rules of the Soul Game than the person who told you did." So again, I'm very sorry, but thank you for listening. Give Stan and Devon my best. The Boogie Man. The Boogie Man is a person who sneaks into children's bedrooms at night, only to take them away, and they're never to be seen again. I was one of those children. The Boogie Man gave me some sort of powder the night that he came for me, and it made me feel happy when I should have been scared. The Boogie Man took me to his home where he kept all the children as well. He was disillusioned and would fill our heads with propaganda, while he also kept giving us the powder. He repeated this over and over and over again, and we just didn't seem to care what would happen to us. or when. You see, the Boogie Man preferred his children to be young. At a certain age he would just vanish. He would do away with you. When I grew older, I managed to escape with some of the other children, and I made it my life's work to hunt down this predator. I once almost succeeded, but he escaped and left me mutilated. He's still out there trying to lure children to his fantasy land. But I will catch him, and I will bring him to justice. Or my name is not Captain James Hook. Blind Man's Favor. After the Second World War, money was tight in Berlin and everyone was hungry. One day, a young woman made her way through a crowded street when a blind man approached her to ask if she could deliver an envelope for him. She looked at the address on the envelope and she noticed that it was on her way home, so she accepted. But as she was about to leave, she turned around to ask the man if he needed anything else, and noticed that he wasn't disabled at all. So she went to the police. When they investigated the address on the envelope, they discovered a house full of human meat for sale. And the letter in the envelope read, "This is the last one I'm sending you today." My hunting past. You always had trouble sleeping at night. Every little sound wakes you up, and not even earplugs help to dull the noises. And the worst part of it is that it makes her even more desperate to be heard. You are the only one who can hear her, and she visits you almost every night. You can feel her stare at you in the dark. You can feel her icy breath in the back of your neck when she whispers, "It's only me." Last night became too much to handle. You went to your mother's bedroom and crawled up to her for comfort. You knew she would be disappointed because she thought the medication worked. Still feeling scared, you began to sob, which seems to make your mother quite uncomfortable. To comfort her, you whisper, "It's only me." Your mother then jumped right out of bed and grabbed her phone. You notice that she's calling the doctor, and she says in terror, "The voices I used to hear, they're back." The red wristband. In hospitals, different colored wristbands meant different things. In this specific hospital, red wristbands were given to the deceased. One night, the doctor stepped on the elevator after he performed his last surgery of the day. There was only one woman in the elevator, and it happens to be a patient, so he started a conversation. When the doors opened to allow another patient on, the doctor slammed the button to close the doors back again. The woman on the elevator gave him a strange look, and the doctor explained that that was the woman he just operated on, and that she had passed away. "Didn't you notice the red wristband?" he asked her, to which the woman raises her own hands and says, "Like this one?" The other watcher. One day a man checks into a hotel. When he receives his key, the woman at the front desk mentions that he will pass a room with no number, and that he shouldn't try to enter or even look inside. But by the second night, the man got so curious that he left his bed in the middle of the night to go to the room with no number. When he tried to enter the room, he found it to be locked, so he dropped down to his knees and peeked through the keyhole. He saw a pale woman wearing a white dress standing in the corner of the room. He went back to bed, and the following night he visited the room again. He looked again through the keyhole, but this time he only saw the color red. Nothing else, just one shade of deep red. When he checked out of the hotel, the man asked the woman at the front desk about the room with no number. The woman explained that a man murdered his wife years ago in that room and that her spirit now haunts it. She is said to be a very pale woman wearing a white dress, except for her eyes, which are bloodshot red. 12:07. The last thing I saw was my alarm clock flashing 12:07 before she pushed her long rotting nails through my chest, her other hand on my mouth muffling my screams. I sat bolt upright, relieved that it was only just a dream. But then I saw my alarm clock flashing 12:06 and I heard my closet door creak open. Portraits. A man got lost in the woods when he stumbled upon a wooden cabin. As he got closer, he noticed that the door was slightly open. Since it was getting dark, the man decided to stay in the cabin and he would explain himself to the owners the following day. As he went to bed, he couldn't help but feeling quite uncomfortable by all the portraits on the wall. They just all seemed to stare at him. He eventually fell asleep, but was shocked the next morning when he noticed that there were no portraits in his room, only windows. Sister. Your sister keeps screaming and crying in the middle of the night. You try to ignore it, but every time you're about to fall asleep, she wakes you back up again. You ask your parents if they can hear her, but you are the only one who can hear her screams. You visit her grave every night and beg her to stop, but it doesn't work. Jeff the Killer. Jeff was just a little boy when he moved to a new town with his family. One day, Jeff and his little brother were attacked by 3 teenagers when they were walking home. Jeff managed to defend himself and his little brother, leaving the bullies behind with broken wrists and knife wounds. This is also the exact moment Jeff realizes how much he likes inflicting pain on others. The bullies took revenge on Jeff at a party where they beat him up and set him on fire. Jeff woke up in a hospital, and when he found a mirror, he discovered that his burning wounds were so severe that it left his skin leathery white and his lips bright red. And that was also the moment he finally snapped. The night he got home from the hospital, his mother found him in the bathroom, carving a permanent smile in his face and cutting off his eyelids so he could avoid sleep. Jeff then murdered his entire family and vanished into the night. He was never to be seen again, but rumor has it that he's still out there, looking for his next victim. Wow, I'm so glad I didn't record this at night. Be right back, I'm gonna eat 6 pounds of chocolate and listen to some Backstreet Boys to light up the mood a little. Which story gave you the most chills? Let me know in the comments down below. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more creepy videos. Bye guys!